good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the globe. Again, the Nigerian government or state government is trying to hide the fact that there has been another mass kidnapping. It will be recalled that a few weeks ago, there was mass kidnapping of 300 Catholic students from a school in Niger State. The Niger State governor came out initially to deny that such a kidnap had taken place. Indeed, the church leaders were being questioned and sometimes even being harassed for saying that so many students had been kidnapped. Not long after, the government came out receiving the kidnapped students. The question to us was what actually happened? Why was government now receiving students that they had denied had been kidnapped? Another drama started unfolding on Sunday in Kaduna State. According to news reports, no fewer than 160 Christian worshippers were simultaneously abducted by heavily armed terrorists in 3 churches in Kurmin Waje village, Afogo Ward in Kajuru Local Government Area of Kaduna State. The attackers, according to eyewitnesses, were armed Fulani militia who rounded up the congregants where the church services were taking place and marched them into nearby forests in what local officials, according to the news reports, described as the largest mass kidnapping of farmers in that locality. Eyewitnesses told a publication, Truth Nigeria, that the bandits got to the area around 10 a.m. on Sunday. According to the eyewitness, he was in ECWA Church when the gunmen were shouting that everybody should lie down. According to the witnesses, some of the attackers wore black clothes with black head turbans. Others wore shabbily looking Nigerian Army camouflage uniforms. A member of the State House of Assembly from the area, who represents Kajuru State constituency, said the scale of their abduction was unprecedented in Kaduna's history. And these kidnappers, according to him, are getting bolder every day. The member who confirmed the attacks said the churches affected were the Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA Church, and 2 Cherubim and Seraphim churches were attacked. According to him, initially 177 people were taken from the 3 churches, and he said 7 captives who were either elderly or living with disabilities were later released by the kidnappers, while 5 others managed to escape. Strangely, not long after, the security agencies in the state denied that such a kidnapping or such mass kidnap took place in Kaduna State. The Kaduna State Police Command denied that there was such a kidnap in Kurmin Waje community. While addressing journalists on Monday, a day after the event at the government house, the Kaduna State Police Commissioner Alhaji Mohammed Rabiu described the report as mere falsehood, which is being peddled by conflict entrepreneurs who want to cause chaos in Kaduna State. The commissioner challenged anyone to list the names of the kidnapped victims and their particulars. He also warned rumor mongers to desist from trying to derail the peace prevailing in the state, threatening that the full wrath of the law will be visited on such merchants. Also speaking at the press conference was the chairman of the local government, Dauda Madaki, who said that the police and security forces were mobilized to Kurmin Waje community after the stories of the attack broke, but they found that there was no attack. The council chairman said, and according to AmazingTimes.live, we visited the church where the so-called kidnap took place. There was no evidence of the attack. I asked the village head, Midanzaria, and he said there was no such attack. I also called the youth leader of the area, who was interviewed by a pressman that accompanied me, and he said that no such attack took place. And he challenged anyone to name the people that were kidnapped and that he's waiting for the list and no one has come forward with a name. Well, such strong declaration should have ended anything that anyone will say about the kidnapping. However, that does not appear to be the end of the story.
Narrative from the Kajuru area that people have been kidnapped or whatever in the like of that is totally false. Is not tenable, and we do not have any evidence of such.
And they accompany with security agencies, the police, the military, special forces, DSS, On reaching to the community, things were moving normal. We visited the church, the said two churches. There was no any evidence that shows that, yes, there was an attack.
Till now that we are speaking, nobody is able to come out with any figure or name of any person that is kidnapped from that community.
Christian Solidarity Worldwide Nigeria came out with a press statement to say that they had attempted to go into the village to confirm what had happened, but were stopped by the military. In the report published by Amazing Times, Christian Solidarity Worldwide Nigeria encountered a military convoy, including the chairman of the local government, which was leaving the community. The latter refused to allow the CSW team entry. Despite repeated pleas, the military officer who stopped the CSWN said there was a standing order not to allow in. The CSWN, however, insists that the attackers arrived on motorcycles and on foot, split into three groups, and targeted three churches: ECWA Church and Albarka Cherubim and Seraphim Church 1 and Haske Cherubim and Seraphim Church 2. The statement said worshippers were forced into the bush while elderly women and young children were later released and 11 persons reportedly escaped. And so in the next few weeks or hours, we'll get more information to what has happened in Kaduna. However, it will be very unfortunate if it turns out to be true that there was indeed some kidnapping and that the government is making efforts to cover them. Of course, the fact that the government in the United States and the whole world is paying attention to Nigeria now means that the government will not be happy if stories of kidnapping keep coming out. And so it is possible that government may be hiding or maybe wanting to suppress the information. But the tragedy of it will be that if it turns out that indeed people were kidnapped and government denied it, government will have proof that it is complicit in what is happening and that anything that it says or wants the international community to believe in, the international community would not believe them. And of course, the major problem with the action of denial, if it turns out to be true, is that everything that the government, the local government chairman and the police in Kaduna say will no longer be believed. And members of those communities will no longer believe anything that the police or the local government chairman said to them. And people from neighboring communities will also no longer believe in what the chairman and the police will be saying. Denial, if it turns out to be true, would have further eroded the credibility of government in the eyes of the people that the government is supposed to be protecting. And we'll wait to see in the next few hours what will happen, whether the member of the State House of Assembly, the civil society group, or the Christian Solidarity Worldwide Nigeria are lying, or that the police and the local government chairman are not telling the truth. My name is Remande Shawulu. This is Update.